From sports to current events to the culture, we talk, agree, disagree, and agree again. Maybe. Confused? Find your outlet, the podcast.
Once again, it's on, good people. Another episode of ATL Outlet. Little ATL therapy for your soul. Got the fellas in the building. C, PB. Another installment of the virtual ATL Outlet. Fellas, what's good? PB.
Like I said, man, let's go. It's Thursday evening, and this COVID situation, man, is just starting to feel too much as if it's normal. So glad to get this therapy for my soul. Some of this ATL Outlet in. Good to see the fellas again today. What's good? What's good with me? Starting off, man, with that juicy crab. Hey, man. Juicy crab, I've had it like 2 or 3 times in the last 3 weeks, bro. And, hey, solid as a rock. Solid as a rock.
Yeah, you sound like Peace and Her now, bro. What you got? What you
got? The stamp of approval.
Right.
The shrimp, the crab legs, man, that corn, the potatoes, make you want to slap your mama. I'm telling you. It's good. So, yeah, man, that's what's good. Trying to figure out. We need to try to get one inside of 285, though. I know you say there's one off Camp Creek. But, man, get one closer to the center of town. Make some money, man. That's
what you thinking, PB? Where specifically do you want this juicy crab?
Man, you know,
listeners, we want your opinion on this location.
Downtown, man. Like you think about where me and AT used to frequent. Hey, we gotta get back on our Hooters Friday night. But that Hooters location right there on Peachtree, man, be solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's super solid. So I probably go there. I'd even try some West Midtown, you know what I'm saying?
Listeners, what you think?
West Midtown, maybe. All I know is it's going to pop wherever.
Well,
shout out to Juicy Crab. PB working for you.
Shout out to Juicy Crab.
C, what's good? Oh, PB, hold on. You finished?
Yeah, that's good. That's what's good with me, man. Juicy Crab all day.
C, what's
Juicy
good
crab.
with you?
Hey, man. The Fit Fitness, high intensity training workout. Dog, I can barely feel my feet right now, but it's good. The pain is good. PB, it reminded me, man. AT, y'all gonna remember this, man. It reminded me being in that weight room in the summertime, and that thing, the coach just getting here, and your boys hollering at you, buddy, man. He being there, they own it. Shout out to Fit Fitness on Metropolitan here in Atlanta. Man, they got the folks on. They giving it to you free, PB. The man said, all you got to do, PB, watch this. Y'all love it. AT, find a way. That's all you got to do. Just find a way, baby.
Find a way?
I saw it on the shirt. That's the shirt right there, buddy. Find a way.
So
what's good for me, man, it was just good to get the adrenaline, the sweat glands going.
Where'd you do that?
Huh?
Where'd you do it, this workout?
I did it in my garage, man. You can go to Facebook Live. We plugged the computer into the little speaker, the little I guess karaoke speaker, man. Man, it felt like I was in the doggone weight room back at the University of Georgia.
How long was the workout?
It's a 45-minute workout. No, I didn't do all 45 the first time. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I got about a good 25 minutes in, and your boy was hurt. But it felt good, man, just to kind of get it going.
Was this the first workout during the shelter in place?
No, the first one for me, man. They've been doing this, man, for. Folks. I've been seeing. I got some buddies of mine. They've been doing it. They when we could go and gather like that, they would do it. They would go.
This is the first time you've done it.
The first time I done it. Yeah, my sister, her fiance. Shout out Rob. Shout out Elise. They've been doing it. My other sister in Maryland. Shout out Adrian. They've been doing it for a minute. And just doing it at the crib, doing it at home. So, they put us on it. So we tried it today. Got the sweat going, baby. 5:30 a.m., 12 noon, 5:30 p.m. I ain't do the 5:30 one, Paul. No.
I was about to say, bro.
No, bro. No. 12 noon, 45 minutes. Let's go.
I'm on my 10th straight week of being on the Peloton.
Okay.
10 straight
So,
weeks.
yeah.
Last 3 weeks I've been doing 4 days out of the week. Now I took the early part of this week off, so but I'm getting back there, man.
That's what's
Almost
up.
11 miles in 30 minutes.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah. So
AT,
shout out
what's
my
up with you?
yeah.
Nah, man. Since we talking about, businesses, shout out to the ATL Outlet, plugusin.org website popping.
We'll do that.
Got all of the audio episodes, video episodes. You can buy merch. Check us out on IG. All right. If you notice on our IG account, we've been doing different polls. We're going to have questions from the show. Winners will send you a T-shirt, send you some cash, get the cash app going. We're going to reward you for following ATL Outlet and listening in. So that's what's good. And we're excited.
I like that, Doc.
We're excited. We're excited about keeping this thing rolling. I'm happy that we start every show with what's good, because I feel like it's good to have a positive start to the show. Unfortunately, with that being said, as we jump into our gumbo,
AT, you ain't got nothing else good though first before we jump into the gumbo, man? What's good with you?
PB going at you, man.
ATL Outlet, we got that. What's good?
Yeah, that's it. I'm good. Like, I'm here. I'm above ground, and we in plugusin.org.
What's your workout thing though?
He pressing in, Doc. Why you pressing in?
Like,
on,
dang,
you know
I didn't know this was about me.
Hey, man, we ain't talked in a minute, man. Like, can you just tell us what's your exercise regimen right now? Like, how you getting it done?
Yeah, I'll just mix it up, man. I'm on this running kick, so run about 3 times a week. Any day I'm not running, I'm probably on the elliptical. Just trying to build up, pretty cool.
You be bike riding?
Pretty consistent. Huh?
You be bike riding? You been
bike
riding?
Yeah, the bike ride, just have a good time, man. But it's more about the running, just trying to it's a mental change for me. So I'm trying to challenge myself mentally, fight through the exhaustion, pain, things that I don't like to do. So it's been fun challenging myself, finding other people to run with me. So it's pretty cool.
You do that in the morning? You do like 5:45 in the morning or what?
No, I ain't tell you I'm doing no 5:45.
Nah, not that early.
There.
Saturday I try to get out there pretty early. Saturday I might get out like 7:30, 7:45, knock it out. The hotter it gets, I try to get out there early, knock it out, get back in.
So there goes a question to the audience, man. What's the best time to work out? Are you a 5 to 7 a.m. Get it in, get it done for the rest of the day? Are you take your lunch hour? Maybe go get something in real quick, or you that late night, after work or even later in the evening? That's a question I like to hear from the audience, man. When's the best time to get your workout in?
We'll post that on IG, get some response, and see what everybody says. We'll rehash it on the next episode, no doubt. Can I move on now?
We're gonna put that on the poll too. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Poll,
can we move on?
Tell us, when can we move on?
Can we move on now? As I was saying, obviously it's always good to start the intro with some positive motivation and being able to see what's been positive in our lives as we start each episode. Unfortunately, as we jump into the gumbo, a lot of what we're going to talk about today is not as positive as we would like it to be at this point. So, had some interesting news here recently, not just in the last couple of days, but also in the last couple of weeks, where we've had several incidents of what I would say is senseless violence and loss of life, or unfortunate situations that have happened across the country. We talked about on the last episode, we talked about Ahmaud Arbery, and unfortunately he was killed in Savannah, Georgia. But since then we've had Breonna Kelly, who was an EMT in Louisville, Kentucky. We had the whole Amy Cooper situation, where Christian Cooper was in
no relation.
Christian Cooper was in Central Park. Christian Cooper's a black man. Amy Cooper's a white lady. There was Christian asked Amy to leash her dog, which ended up with Amy calling the police saying that Christian was threatening her. And then finally we had the killing of George Floyd at the hands of the Minneapolis police. So definitely unfortunate. It's been the topic on all social media platforms, talk shows, TV shows, you name it. It's been a bone of contention here. So We're going to jump right in. Fellas, I want to hear what you have to say.
Paul done went away.
Well, we see what his
He said, I have nothing. You going to go
See what
black
his
screen,
response
Paul?
is.
Yeah, you going black screen. Paul said, I'm going black screen right now.
See what you got.
So, I sound repetitive, man, but, tired of the hashtags, tired of the senseless killings, tired of what it looks like is dehumanization of individuals, specifically those of color. It's very frustrating. I think that, I've been a part of several conversations over the last now, I would say 3-4 weeks now, just talking about it. And it's really a space where I think communities of color are just frustrated and tired.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that there is this perception or depiction that we are less than human? That you have the Ahmaud Arbery's, you have the Amy Cooper, you have George Floyd, you have Breonna Taylor, and one of my friends posted something, and I think is very poignant. Is like, racism has been around, but now it's just being videotaped, and it's bringing more aware. And it made me think. And another conversation I had was very simply, that's what's being videotaped. What about the hundreds of other instances that aren't? And what can we do, right? Been a part of those conversations around, the psyche of America is kind of at stake when that happens. You have people who are saying, well, you want to advocate and help to create and change the law, right? Which I think is good, but then there's another part of me that says, in changing the law, which I think is a good step, you have the psyche of America that's at stake, So when you have a sworn law protector doing those things, I mean, what is the law? Why is that individual, that policeman in Minnesota, not been charged with murder, right? That's a law. So I got some friends now that are on another call that are listening to a lawyer begin to talk about what are some action steps. Then you got folks who don't want to hear nothing about no law. They ready to fight right now. They looting, they burning stuff right now,
Right. Violent protest in Minneapolis.
Right, exactly. So you have what we call civil unrest. It made me think, after having these conversations, there is still voting that needs to be done. And so I am getting up tomorrow here in Atlanta, Georgia, and go early vote, because if I'm doing any of one of those three things and I don't cast my vote, it is almost nullifying any of the things that I'm doing. So, that's a way too. So, just frustrated, angry, tired, sad, disappointed, but now it's how do we create solutions that will begin to eradicate, those feelings in the way that, persons of color, Black people are being treated in our society.
PB.
I kind of want to hear your thoughts first, man, because I don't know, man. I think back just a few weeks ago when Ahmaud, Aubrey situation, and we were having this conversation around, I think LeBron had posted, and Whitlock had come at him about posting. And the question is, right, what change happened? Did something happen? Did change happen? Even in the period of time between that incident and this most recent incident, I struggle because I'll be the first to say, right, outside of voting, because I do think that voting is an important component to the solution. But, I'm the first to admit, I haven't gone and stood in any protest, around the country. Me and you had, me and AT, we had our conversation around the whole Kaepernick kneeling, right? The Clippers, whoever was at the Clippers game wearing a black shirt, they were talking about how Derrick Rose was the first one to wear "I Can't Breathe" shirt during pregame. And while all those things, appear to bring attention, for me, it comes back, and C said this when we were talking about the other situation, like what change is really going to happen?
Right.
Right. And what's interesting for me is to think about, you talk about 2 nights of, violent protests.
Right.
Candidly, I think the data would suggest that that's going to happen maybe for a couple more days, and then it's going to subside, and people are going to go back to doing what they were doing before. Right. It's like these, in a way, a fad that comes about when these things happen, right? They're the headline news for a couple of days, and then stuff starts to fade. And I don't know. I think that's the challenging part right now, is that how do we really go about influencing real change other than people out posting on IG, posting on Facebook, doing these runs around, their communities as a group to show solidarity. And, and I'm not knocking these things, right? But for me, the big question comes to be, how does real change actually happen, right? There was someone the other day that asked about this Cooper situation. And the gentleman who was part of the scenario responded that, he wasn't in agreement with them firing her. Because he was like, well, what does that accomplish? And then, other people out here were like, yeah, they should have fired her right away, because it sets a precedent that you can't do X, Y, and Z. But, I can see the flip side to say, okay, well, would it have been more effective to mandate that she go and attend cultural sensitivity courses, right? Or maybe have to go and do community service in an urban environment, or something else more creative that would really get to a change in her and maybe those around her, versus her losing a job that really we all know is going to be short term, right? She's going to get another job, right? Somebody's going to hire her. Right. So while, maybe that company doesn't want the stain of her being an employee, but what could there have been an alternative approach that actually would have gotten closer to a solution, at least in that scenario, and maybe it have impacted others than firing her? I don't know. I mean, I almost think in some way, like, making her stay on at that company and face the music to what she had done might have been an even more, challenging consequence for her than actually firing her. Right now, she might be able to up and move cross country, whatever. People don't even really know her, but to have to come to work every day and be the person that everybody already knows, I don't know, could have been a different way. So those are just initial thoughts. AT, what you think, man?
I hear your point about it. Such an abrupt consequence. It may even create a bigger divide in causing her to, as a result of hating her situation, maybe she, had no issues toward black men at first, but now she does. So to your point, maybe it would be helpful for her to have some sort of sensitivity training. I want to say this, though, before I start. I don't know what the statistics are as far as how many African Americans or people of color that are unarmed, that are killed, versus white males or other races or whatever the case may be. So I can't. So the things that I say aren't based on every statistic, because I don't know that, and I'm knowledgeable, and I admit that. I also don't know the entire circumstances around any and all of these issues, because I wasn't there, number one. And I have not read all of the material that's out there. But faced with the information that I have and things that I see, like I'm upset. Like I'm angry and I'm upset because I believe that, like, I just believe that the right questions aren't being asked. And to your point, to both of your points, the hashtags, the T-shirts, I really look at that like a funeral. You have somebody who passed away. You have a funeral. Let's say you have 100 people at the funeral. 100 people show up to the funeral for about the next week. Over the next week, 25 to 50 will probably never mention the funeral again. And then over the next month, you have another 15 or 20 that'll never mention it again. And it really will dwindle down to 4 or 5 people that it sticks with for the rest of their life, for immediate family members. And I think a lot of time that's what happens here. For the first couple of days, everybody's on board, everybody's hashtagging, tweeting. But in the 24-hour news cycle, something else comes up, and then it begins to fall off until the next event happened, and then we go back and rehash what has happened before. The conversations to me, and I think that when I look at this, and you say, well, how do we get here? How do we get to the point where a police officer feels that it is okay to have a person of color die on their watch, right? A police officer is a first responder, right? Your job is to save lives first, right? How do we get there? Well, I would argue that the Amy Cooper situation kind of resembles not necessarily the start, but it shows the progression. Like the attitude that she had toward Christian Cooper in that situation, to me, leads to, at the extreme, having a person of color killed by the police officers, because it's a mentality. It's the way you look at a person or a set of people. The conversations need to be had at home on both sides. Like, right. I'm sick of hearing black men saying, well, I'm having to have this conversation with my kid. Right. I applaud that, but this conversation needs to be had in all homes. Like this conversation needs to be had at all homes, because my children are acting based on what they learn from me
at home,
and at home, and my wife. And I'm not saying that people are teaching hate, but the way that you respond to other people, the respectfulness or the lack thereof that you exhibit, that's going to be reflected in your children, who then grow up to become these people who think that this is okay. But nobody is forcing the people who can make change to answer these questions. Like, I need for, whether it be, politicians, presidents, governors, like somebody needs to tell me, why is it okay for this man to be dead and these people not arrested yet? I need to hear that. Yeah. Right. I don't need you to hide behind, well, we're doing an internal investigation. No. I need to hear why you feel like this should not happen. Because the thing about video now is that, you have more eyes on it. You have more people that can dissect what's happened, right? Millions of people can see that your knee was on his neck. Millions of people can see that his hands were behind his back. Millions of people can see that he basically had no way to fight back. So tell me how these people aren't arrested yet.
Right. And I'll even add that the mayor says they need to be, and they still ain't.
And they're still not. But then we go back to the Ahmaud Arbery situation. There was a big question about why, though. It wasn't until it went viral.
Right.
That those
from people who said I was recording to help the ones who did it.
Absolutely.
That video came from people who were trying to help the person who pulled the trigger.
Absolutely. So now let's go back to the Amy Cooper situation. Why does a person feel like they can weaponize a person's race? Like, to me, that means that it's something that was not explained, was not taught, or they've seen countless examples of it working, and it shouldn't be working.
Right. which then speaks back to, so you talk about at home, you know, the analogy that I always talk about is, so when you get a group of people, and you know how we do as a race of people, when we say, hey man, let's come over to the house, let's sit down, let's talk, we talking about life, man. We like what we don't like. And those are the things that are affecting our morals and our values. You know, we joke about the cookouts, but that's when that stuff is bred, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a home that is breeding that, and I get my friends who think like me in my house, and we start talking about dehumanization of people, now all of a sudden I got a mob of people.
Mm-hmm.
I do that 3, 4, 5 times, then I got a gang of people.
Mm-hmm.
I do that 3, 4, 5 times, then I got a whole collection of individuals who are like, yeah, this is what we do. And now you have this, that's why I say the psyche of America. Now you got a group of people whose psyche is, I am better than you.
Now, this is where growth comes. And it's going to sound weird. I want to hear from the people that agree with the police officer's actions.
Yep.
Right? Because right now, my timeline is flooded with people who are prayers for Floyd, prayers for, you know, black people, young black kids got to stay together. And I get that. But there's a segment of society, I don't know how big it is, but that
it's bigger than that we see, because we see it's happening all over the country.
I want to hear from them. Like I was always taught, even as a kid, but definitely with my legal background, that in order to have a perfect defense, a perfect prosecution, you got to understand what the other side is thinking, right? And so in order for us to get to the core of why people think this way, we need to be able to put together an honest, safe conversation with people who agree with this. As crazy as that might sound, but that can give us a start or a peek into the origins of this mentality, because it's starting with the mentality.
Yeah.
Right. The actions follow that mentality. You feel like you mentally or physically have superiority over this individual, you know, whether it be, you know, the fact that you have a badge on, or the fact that you're a certain race or a certain social economic status, whatever that case may be, it starts here, you know, in the mind. And I want to get into that. So I know that sounds weird, but I need to tell me something, man.
I don't think that it sounds weird. What I'm struggling with right now, and hearing both of you, is this kind of, at least how I'm receiving it. Remember, you said a couple weeks ago, you got to practice on making sure that what you intend to be received.
Right. True.
How I'm receiving it right now is a little bit surprised, in that it's like, I need to hear why, you know, these individuals maybe felt like it's okay that they did what they did, or right. But we've got hit. I mean, I don't understand why, because we know why. Now, you may argue, you don't know specifically, you haven't talked to those people, whatever the case may be. But when you look at it, like, we're not experiencing anything that just hasn't continued to be the case for as long as we can remember.
I get that.
Just a manifestation of everything that's already been going on. And to C's point, the only reason that these things are surfacing the way that they are is because technology has allowed us to capture more of this stuff, right? And then go and post it, and for people to see it. That doesn't mean it hasn't been happening.
But let's make the athletic comparison, right? If you're a DB and you keep getting beat on a route, right? You just keep getting beat on that route. Like, the only way to really understand why you can have all the video, all the film. The only way you can really understand why this person keep getting beat on that route, you got to get to that person and see, like, what are you thinking on this? Like, when we look at this video, what are you seeing?
Or I can say, well, guess what? I know the dude runs a 5 flat 40 and he's slow. He can't move his hips. Like, all of that's been seen. And what I know is that anytime I get this type of DB to cover this type of receiver, they're likely going to get beat.
But it might be a read. It might not be physical.
Right.
It may not be, but if I've seen this play out many times before,
right,
I can make an intelligent reflection on why this person is continuing to get beat. I can do that because of all the other corners or DBs that I've watched and receivers that I've watched, right? To make an educated conclusion that, you know what, somebody that's 5'5", that runs a 40 like this, benches this, that doesn't move his hip and got this game film, probably ain't gonna be able to guard Randy Moss.
But let's bring it apples to apples. Like physically, this person it's not obvious that this person is slower or whatever the case may be.
But I got game film.
You got game film that's telling you that they're doing it incorrectly.
Right. Like
you're trying to figure out why.
Like the game film analogy, I think when you looking at the game film, you're saying, okay, I see the history, right? So I can make this judgment. Well, I think that's physical. I go back to we talking about the mindset right now. Like physicality, that was a big. George was big guy. He got him down to bring him down to his size, and then decided that he was going to physically impose his.
My point here, the game film is watching Trayvon Martin's situation happen.
Right.
Saw that that dude.
That was a mindset, though. That was a mindset.
He saw game film too, as a cop, to be like, oh, there are plenty of other videos I could go watch where a cop did what they did and was totally fine.
So you need so you're trying to find out why this video is different, right?
Is it?
If it's a cop to a cop, like why? Yeah, I mean there are videos of peaceful arrests. Like why is that video different than George Floyd? Right now, again, that goes back to statistics. I don't know the numbers. I would assume that there are more, non-violent arrests, I would assume. And the question is, what is different about the ones where we have George Floyd?
What was so interesting, now I saw another thing on the internet today where they showed a couple weeks ago where there were protests, predominantly Caucasians that were protesting the shelter in place.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And did y'all see the image where the police officers were standing there?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just them standing there.
Yep. And they got in their face and nobody said anything to them. Yeah.
But then last night, with a majority of people of color, they had gas masks on and all this stuff.
Yeah. And that's a mindset. That's a mindset.
So when AT was saying like, oh, what makes you think that this person is better? I mean, my thoughts are that there is still a large percentage of this country where deep down there are probably Caucasians that say they are better than African Americans.
Absolutely.
Point blank.
So I want to chime in on that one. Again, another conversation I was a part of where, and I'll say it on this show, that on our show, that there's a group of people that call it the dehumanization of America. And the mindset is Christopher Columbus did not find or discover America. There were people already here. But they came over and said, I'm better than you. I'm taking this. Mm-hmm. And so then now the Constitution is written already saying that women, people of color, and Native Americans, you already aren't important. That's the mindset, right? That we celebrate, right, wrong, and indifferent, that thought process.
So knowing that, right, knowing that we have that game film at our disposal, what kind of game plan can we create to prevent this? Because it's absolutely sickening. Like it is. And then, what happens is this leads to arguments over who's saying Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. There was an argument because somebody said we're going to pray for the police officers as well. And now everybody's fighting over everything, and we just getting distracted and not focusing on the issue. It's a problem. It's a problem. These conversations need to start at the house. They need to become a part of the fabric of everything that we do.
I think there got to be immediate consequences, right? I think that there has to be
Okay.
for these types of scenarios, right? The fact that it does take, in Ahmaud Arbery, 2 months before these dudes even got arrested,
Right.
or whatever and now, this situation with George and these cats, there's been no charges, right? Now they got put, I think, on suspension, right?
They got fired. They did get fired.
They got fired. But to me, again, to fire somebody versus somebody die, like those two things don't go together.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact that there's, no higher level of accountability, meaning that maybe it's the police chief or whomever in that line of authority, if something hadn't been done the next day, then I'd be coming down on that whole train.
Yeah.
Like everybody in that entire criminal justice system in Minneapolis would be going through something right now. Right? Because that's the other component here is someone was saying if you got 10 bad cops but 1,000 good cops, and the 1,000 good cops don't do anything when they see the 10 bad cops doing something wrong, then you really got 1,010 bad cops.
That's right. Like the Asian cop that was standing there, kind of with his back, looking at everybody. Don't y'all say nothing.
Well, let me just say this.
At some point, man, you got to start holding everybody accountable. You can't just hold the people that are, doing the wrongdoings account. Everybody has to be held accountable. And when you start doing that, to me, it helps, at least starts to help going down a path where this type of stuff doesn't happen. Because, if those 4 people knew, hey, all y'all can go to jail too, just by sitting here watching this, and felt that was a serious consequence, maybe they don't let it happen either. Right? Like everybody's got to be outraged about what happened, not just people that are not in a position to do anything about it necessarily.
True. And let me just say this. There's some professions, in my opinion, where I don't really have time for them to be any bad whoever's. Like, don't get me wrong. Nobody's perfect. People will make mistakes. Things will happen. I don't need 10 bad pilots. Like, no. Like, I don't need 10 bad police officers. Officers may make a mistake, but to your point, PB, that needs to be controlled in-house, right? It needs to be controlled in-house so that those 10 aren't allowed to do something that then reflects on the entire police department.
Right.
And I think in this situation, man, it's just, man, I just look at it, man. I'm just like, how could a human being get to the point where he felt like what he was doing was okay?
Yeah.
Right? Was it? I don't know if I will ever get that answer. Mentally, what space do you go to where it's obvious this guy is struggling, but I am going to keep my knee on the neck? And
the same dude that shot, what's his name, up there in Minnesota? That was shot right there. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Again, man, there's been so many examples of, I don't know what place they in, but there's.
Don't nobody know.
Right, but there's something where more than one has proven that they feel like they can do whatever they want to do if you black and whether you got handcuffs on or not. Like,
or not.
They can kill you.
No, or not.
Period.
So my question to us.
There might be weeks and weeks and weeks, or there may be a trial. Again, I was talking about even going back to Rodney King. like if you think back to what happened to Rodney King, it was on video. They got off, right? And the same type of situation is happening.
So my question to us, all educated, I had this question asked of me. As an African-American male, you've done your best to assimilate, right? You've gone to predominantly white institutions, got great academic, can articulate yourself well. And I'll even say, I'll speak for myself now, I was taught to do that so that I could make myself an equal, right? Could sit in the rooms and not feel ashamed, not cower down, not any of that. And really, in some respects, to say, hey, you all, guess what? I'm not a threat to you. But because of the color of my skin that I can't do nothing about, I'm still a threat. I've done everything that you've asked me to do. Got multiple degrees. You know, doing everything that you, but still, because of the color of my skin, I'm still a threat. They asked me, how does that make you feel? I'm asking you two, how does that make you feel?
Less than, which is unfortunate. Don't get me wrong. I'm self-confident in my capabilities. I'm self-confident in my approach, but I'm also conscious enough to know that there are certain things that I can't do that other people can do. There are certain situations where I have to approach it much differently than others. And it is what it is. And, you know, I'm frustrated. I was talking to my wife about this the other day, and she brought this up, that she said she was frustrated because she realizes that there are answers that are needed, but she's afraid that she won't be able to see those answers in her lifetime.
Yep.
Because we just don't have enough we are not far enough removed from a generation in which we were treated like we were second-class citizens. And that mindset still prevails today. So many of us are forced to operate in this silo where it kind of just is what it is. And we just got to make sure we protect ourselves and our family while not, offending anybody else. That sounds terrible, but I just don't know. I don't know.
DB, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, I think it makes me, that pisses me off. Like that
Your answer was about like mine.
That's what really, brings out that, frustrated side of me, because one, I know I'm not you're in the position, if anything, you're the threat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just a threat. I was watching that clip. I'm sure you guys have seen it, where there's this, I guess, a teacher, and they're outside with a class on a field, and he goes and he says, "Look, we're gonna do a race. Everybody stand on this line. We're gonna do this race for $100." He goes down the other side of the field, and he says, "Okay, but how we're gonna do this is if I'm gonna make some statements, and if any of these statements are applicable to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward." And so he starts naming all this stuff, like, you got 2 parents at home, you got a father figure at home, you had access to free tutors, or you had access to private education, or you never had to worry about where your meal was coming from, or your cell phone being cut off. He goes through all these, and of course, like, the majority of the white kids are now like halfway towards the goal line. And of course, say the drama, he says, "I want you to turn around and look at, others." And basically, this is what white privilege is.
Yep.
Right? Because where you're starting, right, is already in most cases like halfway the goal line to get there.
Right.
So to me, that's why I'm like, you're the threat. If anybody's a threat, it's you, right? And to all the points that you made earlier about, I've done this to assimilate. I've done this, I followed these rules. I followed these guidelines or guidance from people around me, and I'm trying to, in many ways, for a significant portion of my life, fit into, this, organizational structure that you've established.
Right.
Right. And that's why, people ask me all the time, like, how is it so difficult to balance being in corporate America, and then spending time on, with people that I love. I mean, it is literally being in 2 separate worlds.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, it pisses me off because it's like, look, I've done all the things that I've needed to do to get to this place, to be at this table. And yet you still gonna look at me, sideways, for whatever reason, just because I'm black, I mean, it pisses me off. I remember at a firm I was at 2 years ago, what really used to get under my skin was there was this older white partner who, when my hair would get a little bit longer, y'all know I usually wear it much shorter than this.
Shout out COVID-19.
Right, shout out COVID-19. But you know how white dudes would get a 5-hour shadow or something like that?
5 o'clock, yeah.
5 o'clock shadow or whatever, or they wear their hair the way they do. Mine had got a little bit longer than normal. I had been traveling. And every time it would happen, this partner would come around and be like, how you doing there, Paul? Like, had something to say to me. And then weeks later when I get a haircut, he'd come and say something slick. And man, I'm telling you, when I tell you I wanted to choke this dude, but, I didn't flip it, right? And try to make him feel uncomfortable about the situation. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I got it for you since you're so worried about, what my hair like.
Right.
We had this back and forth, but my whole long-winded way of saying it just drives me crazy, man.
Yeah. And I answered the same way. I told him, I said, it pisses me off. Because that's the one thing that, and I wouldn't change it for the world, but that's the one thing that I have no control over is color of my skin. I am grateful to be a Black man. I am honored to be it, but I can't control it. And it pisses me off that even in everything that I have done, that I still am, no matter what, perceived as a threat. And then I started thinking about other Black men and women that I've had the privilege to mentor and coach and do all that stuff. And you tell them up front, hey, dude, this is who you are. Be proud of it. Don't do nothing crazy and stupid, because you already, as you said, you starting already a little bit behind. You brought it up, Paul. White privilege is white privilege. Period, point blank. Period to the T. And the three of us have, and I would say, making an assumption, we learn how to navigate it. We know when it shows up and we go, okay, that's that, but the reality is, at the essence of what we are seeing in these last 3 to 4 instances, it's a version of white privilege. No, let me be clear. It's white privilege to the highest degree.
And I think it's racism that just continues to exist today, because the consequences for these actions, if you looked over the last 10 years, right, the consequences have not deterred the behavior.
Right.
And when you take a lack of accountability and mix that with, to Val's point, right, still a generation separated from a point where, you were less than. You put those two things together and what you got. These incidents continue to happen, right? Until, change. This type of change, man, just isn't going to be easy. Somebody's really going to have to step up and step out and do something non-traditional, right? To the extent where it's going to cost more than, you getting booed at a professional sports game. Right, it's gonna take something like that, man. In my opinion.
But I think that in our individual circles, though, we owe it to our families and to those that we support to, like we're on the obligation to check it, like when we see it, until there's a larger action.
What does that mean, though, AT? So if you were in Minneapolis and was witnessing this occur.
No, what I mean is in smaller scales. I think what we saw in Minneapolis was the culmination of
the iceberg. I call it the iceberg syndrome
of the privilege. If you see what I'm saying, a lot of times that I would venture to say, and again, I don't know the police officer personally, but I would venture to say that there have been other behaviors in the past where those character traits have revealed themselves, maybe and how he spoke to a coworker or other incidents that didn't get as far as taking somebody's life. But I think that if you see PB, anybody is witness of that, that needs to be checked. Like that needs to be checked early on to know that, yeah, that's not appropriate. That's not cool. I see what this is, and I see what because I want to give people the benefit of the doubt in thinking that if you are aware and you realize that you're being held accountable and people are watching you, that you're less likely to do something as outlandish as that. I could be totally wrong in this case. Like this could have happened regardless of him being checked early on or not. But I just feel like it should be done at least on a small scale until we find that larger action. So that the white gentleman who made a comment about your hair, like, absolutely, like, let's have this conversation, because I don't want you to leave here thinking that you can do this to anybody else you walk past.
So that brings up a whole new can of worms, right? And AP, you and I have had this, debate. So, and I'll ask you this way: if you guys had a son, mid-20s, working at a vastly predominantly white organization, he's on his way, started his career off out of school, was doing well, and now gets put in a similar situation as described. What advice do you give him on how to handle that situation?
He's got to address it. He's got to be, he has to follow whatever the protocols are for challenging things. Like let's say, for instance, if he feels like he's passed over for a job, is that cool? Is that a cool example? Or is it somebody disrespecting him on a job?
He wasn't passed over for a job. Just, again, a senior executive, let's just say, within the organization, just is making comments that he feels like is borderline inappropriate. Right. Yet, and again, it's subtle. So it's not something that, it wasn't like the dude called him N-word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or called him out his name, or did something egregious.
You got to address it.
But it was a subtle dig.
You got to address it.
A subtle scenario. And it was from a senior executive.
You got to address it.
So,
yeah. Period.
So your advice is address it.
Period.
Regardless of the unsaid, kickback that you're going to get.
Yep.
As a result of it.
So,
go ahead, C.
No, I was going to say what happens is, if I have a son, first of all, they're going to know what to do because we're going to have that conversation prior to that situation. I ain't going to wait till it happens, number one. Number two is, yes, Paul, what you're saying is they may lose their job. Yep, that's exactly right.
Yep.
They may lose it.
Yep.
I don't care. Six figures ain't enough to be dehumanized. That's a personal decision that I would have instilled in my child prior to that. Hey man, do your job. If you're a black man and you proud of being black, don't let nobody take that from you.
Yeah, but
don't swing.
Nobody can take anything that I haven't given them. Right. So regardless of what this individual may say, like, only if I allow him to dehumanize me does that occur.
But if you feel, my statement is, if you feel dehumanized, that don't mean that they took it from you. If you feel less than, that's you, right?
Yeah, I guess
so
feeling less than and feeling like something was inappropriate to me are two different things, right?
I feel like anytime
I feel less than, right?
Say what now?
Like he was an idiot, but that didn't make me feel like I was less than, and so I think they're.
But if you don't address that, and I say if the person doesn't address that, though, that individual may think, "Oh, I can do this again." I'm with Ann at this point, like, and
I hear that argument. I hear that argument, but I guess so then what good does that do though? Okay, you're probably one of the first blacks leaders at this company, and the impact that you can have as you continue in your career there to make a bigger difference, right? That opportunity now may get overshadowed or never happen simply because you elected to have this one-off conversation about something that, what could be debatable on the level of importance to address it.
Absolutely. And that is a chance you take. That is certainly a chance you take. But I think the more that you have on the line, and this may sound weird, the more that you have on the line is going to craft how you approach it. You know, most people, if they don't have much skin in the game, they just gonna completely blow up. Like, you can have this job. Like, I'm tell you how I feel, I'm gonna leave, right? But if you are planning on laying a foundation upon which others can build their careers off of, you're going to take a different approach. You're going to let the person know, or you're going to let the group of people know that I appreciate my time here. I'm totally committed. I'm totally loyal. But in order for us to move forward, this has to be discussed. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be spiteful. And a lot of time that comes down to your personality, your ability to have tough conversations. Like, you got to be able.
Earlier though, just because you black, as soon as you open your mouth, they're gonna be like, "Oh, here comes the threat." Right? Maybe no matter how you deliver it, no matter how good you are at communication.
Now,
you're the only black guy that has ever said anything that was maybe constructive feedback. And now you become the angry black man just because
Now, but here's the deal.
Angry black man.
And that's part of what I said about, unfortunately, we're operating in a silo where it kind of is what it is. And that's why, as people of color, like, we have to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. Like, it's different if I walk into that room having, 3 or 4 other issues of me, not doing what I'm supposed to do, not being accountable, not being responsible. That conversation is going to come across a little different.
Right.
If my T's are crossed, my I's are dotted, I come in with ammunition that says, not only I'm taking care of my business, you see that I'm, contributing, but I need this to be addressed. I think that needs to be happening. Now, understand this. My opinion has come with experience and with age. Like, 22-year-old me wouldn't be prepared to do this at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you say you have a son, like, a lot of that comes into play. Like, how old is he? What kind of job is it? You want to make sure that he's aware. He can't be tone deaf, right? You just can't always just kick the door in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if we all are doing it in our
black males have to even have that conversation.
True. Yes. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Do I open my mouth? Do I not open my mouth?
Yeah.
If I do open my mouth, how do I deliver it? Am I going to say it in a way that is threatening to the audience? And to your point, AT, I may have all my T's crossed and my I's
but
dotted.
But
I'm still the only black dude in the office.
But if you have if those T's are crossed and those I's are dotted, and that conversation leads to you losing your job, the fact that your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted will be, you're more likely to get another job.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But so here's my deal though. We're talking about the conversations that need to be had at the house. Absolutely, we got to have those conversations at our house. But in other households and other races, that conversation needs to be held as well.
Yeah, but how's it happening?
Well, it needs to be. Go ahead.
Who's having it? The dude that just had his knee on old boy's neck and killed him?
So Paul, you remember when we talked about Ahmaud Arbery?
Table with him.
You remember we talked about Ahmaud Arbery, and I said this. I said one of the things that I have learned, and I take that point as it's come with age, is as I have been speaking to my white counterparts, my white friends, who could potentially be in the room with some other white people who don't necessarily think like this, I have challenged them to have that conversation. I'm straight up. I was on the phone this morning.
That don't mean that they had it.
Hey, you're right, because I ain't in their house. But they know, as this black man that they say, quote unquote, is their friend, if I'm having it in my house, I'm saying you got to have it in yours. You're right. I don't know what they're doing.
Boy, I imagine that old boy who had his knee on his neck, his people that's sitting around the table with him, probably a lot like him.
But I want to hear from those people. Like, in all honesty, I want to hear from those people. Like, tell me what these conversations are in your house.
But you got, again, because of the world that you live in, the society that you've grown up in for 40, you really gonna sit there and think that you're gonna hear something that surprises you?
Hey man, look, we gotta take a break. I'm gonna say it. We gotta take a break. We ain't solving this. We gotta take a break. We've been on this thing about 45 minutes, y'all.
Are you really gonna hear something that surprises you?
Quite possibly, but we'll take a break.
We gotta take a break. Them their books. I wrote this there.
From sports to current events to the culture, we talk, agree, disagree, and agree again. Maybe. Confused? Find your outlet, the podcast.
And we're back.
After a much needed break. After a much needed break.
Man. We needed that one, man. We're gonna turn this thing around. This is the ATL Outlet, little ATL therapy for your soul. We got really heavy with our recent conversation on the culture. As we say, in the promos, sports, to the culture, we talk about it all. But we're gonna change gears now and go into our one of our favorite segments. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, sir, no, sir.
Yes, sir.
You guys know the rules. I will make a statement. You respond yes, sir, in the affirmative, or no, sir, if you feel otherwise. Quick side note. Did you all see the 112 Jagged Edge competition?
I heard it was
I didn't see it.
I heard it wasn't that great.
Well, we had more technical difficulties, which I don't understand why that keeps happening, but
no, Instagram doing that. Y'all ain't getting no free promo with us.
So I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, I'm looking for my question. All right, so I'm going to give you guys two teams. All right, two teams. And we're going to compare the teams. This is from a Twitter post that I received. There are 4 teams listed, but I'm going to go ahead and just pick 2 and have you all pick the best of the 2. Which all NBA first team is better? Or I'll just say it this way. The 2003 all NBA first team consisted of Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The 2018 All-NBA first team consisted of Damian Lillard, James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis. The 2003 All-NBA first team over 2018 All-NBA first team. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay, you said it was Shaq, Tim,
McGrady, Tracy McGrady, Kobe, KG. 2018, Damian Lillard, James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis. 2003 over 2018.
I'm
ready.
PB. Go first.
Oh, go ahead. See, 2003 over 2018. Yes or no, sir?
You'll lie and change it. You go first, AT.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm going yes, sir. 2003 team over 2018 team. KG is probably one of my favorite players in the NBA of all time. Can't go wrong with the Diesel. If McGrady doesn't get hurt, I think he's an all-timer. And I just don't think that 2018 team can beat him, period. Point blank. PB.
I'm going yes, sir, too. I mean, Tim Duncan, Shaq, Tracy McGrady, Kobe, and who was the other person?
Kevin Garnett.
Oh, and KG? Hey, man. I mean, yeah, 2003 all day. I mean, it's tough because KD, I hate to say it, I think Damian Lillard going to be a weak link for the 2018 team just because of size. Kobe, KD. I don't think Anthony Davis going to be able to handle Shaq at all. Like
Diesel.
At all. I'm sorry. He might step out and shoot more, but he going to have his hands full. And primetime Shaq, hey, man, I might just say primetime Shaq any day of the week. Come on.
See, I like I'm stuck, don't I? But I'm not. I got my pick. 2003 all day.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna stop Shaq. Nobody. Not in 2000. Not 2008.
All right, let me do this then. I'm gonna keep it there. That same 2003 All NBA first team. Okay.
All right.
McGrady, Kobe, KG, Tim, Shaq.
McGrady, Kobe, KG, Tim.
All right. The question is 2003 All NBA first team over the 1988 All-NBA first team. Magic, Jordan, Bird, Barkley, Olajuwon. 2003 over 1988. Yes, sir. No, sir.
I got it.
What you got, see?
You see my face? I ain't even sweating this. Yes, sir. Give me 98 over 03 right now.
Oh, so it's no, sir. I said 2003.
No, okay, yeah. No, sir. 98.
88.
And it's simple. And it's this simple right here.
88.
Shaq in his prime, but he got to guard the dream.
He do got to guard the dream.
He got to guard the dream.
Dream.
But that's the one person.
Healthy with it.
That's the one person that I think the Shaq will be like, where did this dude go?
Yeah,
PB.
I mean, Elijah gonna have his hands full on the other end of the court too. Like,
He would.
don't sleep.
But he got KG with him.
You got Tim and KG versus who'd you say, AT?
Barkley.
Tim,
Barkley.
KG, Shaq
Barkley.
versus Barkley, Bird, Olajuwon.
Barkley and Olajuwon.
Olajuwon.
And then you got MJ and Magic at the 1 and the 2.
Do it. Do it.
No,
Do
sir.
it.
No, sir. I'm going to 88 team, man.
Yes,
Going
sir.
88.
Yeah, I'm going 88.
We let AT be last. You know what he about to do, PB.
I know he about to go 2.
Go ahead and do it. Do it. Go ahead and do it.
Yes, sir. 2003 in like a 2-point game in triple overtime. I'm going with him, man. The Diesel. Paul, I'm agreeing with you. The Diesel is the Diesel, brother. Like, it's going to be hard to stop Shaq. Hard to stop Shaq.
Come over and double him.
But you got MJ.
You
You got Cole.
Yeah.
You got
MJ.
Cole. You got
And
Cole,
Magic.
man. You got Cole.
And Bird.
Yeah.
Look, the weak link in that matchup is T-Mac. T-Mac and compared to Magic.
Bird.
Bird was awesome, but I'm a KG fan. KG gives him that work, and we know what Tim. We know what Tim.
Gonna match up against Barkley.
No.
Tim.
98.
Timmy.
Oh, Tim, yeah.
Who gonna match up against Barkley?
Tim
Duncan?
indeed. One of the best
Hey,
true
but
power
that's
forward of the game.
battle. Don't think that Chuck gonna just give it up.
No,
Like,
I
right.
said it's gonna be triple overtime. They're gonna win by 2 in triple overtime. All right, we're gonna move on. Yes, sir, no, sir. Peach cobbler over apple pie. Yes, sir. No, sir. I'm gonna go first. Yes, sir. Gotta go with peach cobbler. All day long, give me the corner with the crust on it. Got a little ice cream, I'll take that too. Peach cobbler. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go yes sir too. I'm gonna take the peach cobbler over the apple pie.
See,
Y'all see I'm bobbing my head. Yes, sir. Let's go. Peach cobbler. Cause where we at? The peach
I
state.
can do either one.
all right. Last one. Yes, sir, no, sir. On the entertainment tip. All right. Let's go. Large arena concert. Take your favorite artist. Large arena concert over smaller, intimate theater.
But like,
Yes, sir. No, sir.
where does Chastain fall into that?
Smaller.
I'm going smaller all day, so no sir.
See,
No, sir. Smaller all day. Need a little bit more intimacy.
yeah, we'll agree on that. Smaller to me as well. No, sir. I'm going with a smaller venue. That's our installment of Yes, Sir, No, Sir for this segment. As we sign out, man, we want to just thank you all for supporting us. We did not thank Dr. Tiffany Billsley for being with us on the last episode. We are very thankful to her. We shout out
Dr. B.
We shout out a whole lot of small businesses, Juicy Crab. See, who'd you talk about earlier?
Effect Fitness.
Effect
Let's
Fitness.
Let's go.
So I
Let's
want
go.
to get to have that habit of at the end of these, shout out these small businesses, supporting them. City Brand Clothing, Two Commas Clothing, Zayweez Entertainment, all these guys and girls who are putting on for their families, even during the quarantine period. So that's our show for tonight.
Well, let us know if there was a Juicy Crab on Peach Street.
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna put it on IG. We're gonna put it on IG.
What'd you fall through?
Chance to
Juicy
win
Crab
prizes, T-shirts.
Inside of 285 in 2021.
You know what? We're gonna call whoever owns Juicy Crab. We'll get you on the show. We're gonna see what's up.
There it is.
Franchise.
All right, we'll holler.
Holla. Check us out, ATL Outlet.
From sports to current events to the culture, we talk, agree, disagree, and agree again. Maybe. Confused? Find your outlet, the podcast.